All right, guys, the first thing I'm gonna do is warn you. I brought my document camera back to my house for these next few weeks. However, I can't get it to work. Hopefully it's getting fixed today, but until then, I'm having to make these videos on my iPhone. So if it's not the best quality, I apologize, but we're just gonna have to do the best we can. Hopefully you already watched that video. That was the first thing on your list, and then you have a general idea about the Pythagorean theorem, but I'm gonna go into more detail and a little more vocabulary. So the Pythagorean theorem, it's a squared plus b squared equals c squared. And something really important is it's only for right triangles. That means it has to be a triangle with a 90-degree angle. And the whole point of the Pythagorean theorem is to find a missing side of the triangle. So if you know two of the lengths, but you don't know the other length, the Pythagorean theorem can help you figure it out. So the first thing is here is a right triangle. And I'll mark your right angle here. And here's how we label the sides. Right triangle has two legs, leg A and leg B. And then it has the hypotenuse, which is C. The legs, it doesn't matter which one's which, A and B are interchangeable, but your hypotenuse always has to be C. A nice way for you to really quickly tell which side is the hypotenuse is your hypotenuse is always directly across from your right angle. So down here I've got an example, and it says find the length of the hypotenuse. So I've got your right triangle. It's 13 inches tall, the base is 11 inches, and we don't know what the hypotenuse is, so we've got the x. So what I'm gonna do is instead of a squared plus b squared, I'm gonna plug in these numbers. So I've got 13 squared plus 11 squared, and it equals x squared. Remember, when you square something, 13 squared is just 13 times 13. 11 squared is just 11 times 11. When you do that math, you should get that 290 equals x squared. Now, that's not your final answer. Common sense says that if this side's 13, this side's 11, this side is not going to be 290. So what you have to do is you have to take the square root. The square root is this symbol right here. Remember, it's that check mark with the line. So if you take the square root of both sides, the square root of x squared is x. The square root of 290 is about 17.03. So we could say that this other side is approximately 17.03 inches. A way you can check yourself is your hypotenuse always has to be the longest side. Hypotenuse is always the longest side. That means just by looking at this triangle, you know the hypotenuse has to be greater than 11. It has to be greater than 13 because it has to be the longest side. All right, I've got a little triangle down here. I want you to go ahead and use the Pythagorean theorem to solve for x. A squared plus b squared. Don't forget to take the square root. So go ahead, pause this and solve for x. All right, so remember, it does not matter which leg you put first. The legs are interchangeable. A and B can switch around. The only one that really matters is C. So what I did was 6 squared plus 7 squared, and that gave me 85. Then you have to take the square root, and I get approximately 9.22. To check, make sure the hypotenuse is the longest side, 9.22. Yeah, that would be the longest side, so you know that's possible. So far, we have always been solving for the hypotenuse, but sometimes you have to solve for one of the legs. So here's what that would look like. It's super easy, it's the same concept. To find a missing leg, you just subtract instead of add. So here I have a leg and I have a hypotenuse. You're just gonna take the hypotenuse squared minus the leg squared. So you do 15 squared minus 12 squared. That should equal 81 when you do the math. Take the square root of it, you get that x equals 9. So that missing side is 9. I know I went through that pretty quick, but it's the same general concept. It's just instead of adding the two legs, you're taking the hypotenuse minus a leg. You're still squaring them. You still find the square root. It's just you are subtracting instead of adding. So let me see where it is. Okay, I've got a triangle for you here. and has a hypotenuse of 27 centimeters and a leg of 15 centimeters, and then this leg is x. I want you to solve for this x. Remember, it's the same thing, hypotenuse squared minus the leg squared, and take the square root. So go ahead, pause and solve it. All right, so I would do the hypotenuse is 27, so 27 squared minus my leg, which is 15 squared. You should get about 504. Take the square root, you get approximately 22.45. So your missing leg is approximately 22.45 centimeters. I know I went through this quick. If you need more help, you are more than welcome to email your teacher, or there are a couple of other videos at the bottom of your to-do list that can help. Also, always a good idea, if you go onto YouTube, a lot of teachers post their lessons, so you could literally go into YouTube, type in how to use the Pythagorean Theorem, and it'll show you. All right, once you're done with this, you've got 2 IXLs that you need to complete. We're saying that the requirement is 90, but I think it would be a good idea for you to strive to get up to that 100 on your SMART score. If you need anything, let us know.